So my name is Leo. My job is to ask lots of questions. I'm not actually going to give you any answers. Payal, do you want to tell everyone what it is you do?
Yep, so Classpass is a monthly fitness membership program that lets you take classes in the different studios and gyms in your local area. So it's one membership. You can go to a yoga class, a dance class, yoga class whenever you want to.
So look, I have to admit, I do no exercise, okay? Like zero exercise. My idea of exercise is walking to the pub.
A lot of people don't, and they have a lot of trouble getting started.
But as I understand, this all started not because you thought, maybe there's a business in exercise, but because you thought, I would like to do some exercise, right?
So it really started because of my passion for dance. So I was sitting at my desk one day, I was looking for a ballet class to take, and I realized that there was no search engine at the time that aggregated all the information. So very similar to the open tables that exist in the world, I figured, why wasn't there an aggregator that put all this information in one place?
Right.
And that would have made my search easier instead of having 5 tabs open and figuring out, which studio to go to, how to get there, which times, which level. I actually ended up not going.
Because you were looking at, these guys offer this at so-and-so time for this price, and then you had to make like a spreadsheet or something.
Yeah, I mean, and I was trying to just work out for an hour, right? And it took me longer than that to actually find what I wanted to do. And in that moment, I think I realized that there was this problem with people just staying connected to their passions and hobbies, right? So, for example, a lot of people who say they want to work out, they want to, but there's so much friction in the way.
Right.
And so we wanted to eliminate a lot of that.
So you had this idea, look, I have this problem, some other people might have this problem, but you did not go from there straight to what you have today.
Of course not.
So hang on, I've written this down and I've forgotten, and I can't read my own notes and I've forgotten everything, but I think, if I remember correctly, you started off with something called Classtivity, and then you moved on to something called Passport, and then you put the two together and made Plasticativity? No, Classpass.
Classpass.
So do you want to run us through that? So 2010, 2012, and 2013.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we first, started the idea, it was a search engine, and like most entrepreneurs who were first time, I built the technology, I built the website, put it up there, and when we launched it, there were crickets. And it was a hard moment for my team. We had spent a year, essentially, at this point, building all the schedule data and making sure it was right and accurate. And when we launched it, we wanted people to go to class. But they weren't booking. They were coming and searching, but they weren't going to class. And that's our mission. So it actually, while it was a hard pivot, it actually wouldn't make sense to stay in the problem or in the product that wasn't working.
Right.
So at that point, what we started to do is we had built a lot of the integrations into a lot of these partner studios. But I think one of the things we didn't do early on enough was talk to both sides of the market.
Wait, what do you mean integrations?
So we had built a lot of the scheduling capabilities,
right?
So I could get real-time information on when all the schedule data was, but I wasn't actually interacting and building a value proposition on either side. It was purely a technology play.
Right.
And so what we started doing was talking to our partners to see what their pain points were and talking to customers. And one of the things that our partners kept telling us was they had excess capacity. And they were giving away classes for free to get new people in the door.
Right.
So what we decided to do is this first iteration, which was called the Passport, was a $49 pass that packaged together these complimentary classes. So people could go for a month and explore all the different studios in their area.
Right.
And it was a new idea. No one had ever had a 1-month pass where they could go to a yoga class, dance class, spin class.
And you're actually solving problems for 2 sets of people.
Exactly.
And yourself.
Absolutely. But there was one of the major things that we wanted to make sure we were doing was sending traffic back to the studios, right? They were giving us these classes for free.
Right.
So the only way this would work is if someone went and bought a package at their studio after the month of exploration. And so internally, we had a benchmark that 70 to 80% of people who gave one of our studios 4 or 5 would go back. We saw that at 10 to 15%.
So wait, if someone went to a studio 4 or 5 times, then at that point they would start going back?
If they gave it a rating of 4 or 5, meaning if they liked the experience, we expected that they would buy a package or go back to the studio.
But only 15% will?
Only 15% of people did.
Why?
So a few things had happened. One, they loved the variety. which was something that no one ever had really seen in this market because going to all these different boutique studios wasn't something that was possible before the program we had introduced.
Previously you had to do one kind, as I said, I know nothing about exercise. Previously you had to do one kind of exercise only, or one kind of class
only. It was
only.
either going to the gym or commit to one studio. Because there is a high price point, so that was also one of the deterrents. High price point and going to one studio. And most importantly, they loved our product and our technology. We made it so seamless for people to do. And so what happened here was we had to go back and look at our customer base. And what we saw was people were frauding us in the sense they were signing up with multiple email addresses to do the passport over and over again. And studio owners would call us saying, you know, I'm seeing the same person, you guys said it's not possible, and it wasn't possible. From a tech perspective, there was no way the same person could make that reservation. So we're like, what's going on? And we started seeing people sign up with the same email address, or different email addresses, and go back to these studios. So then we realized that maybe this is actually a subscription.
And
we did a survey.
Only thing.
Exactly. And 95% of our users said they wanted to do this product over and over again. And this was about 6 months into the passport journey. And one of the things I always love, you know, mentioning is Classtivity, which was the search engine, did about 100 reservations. Passport did about 20,000, and Classpass has now done 35 million. Right? And if you really think about it, the technology was almost close to exactly the same. It was about the scheduling.
And about how you're selling this,
what you're selling. It's about how you packaged it and really built the value proposition for your customer, which is something that we constantly kept doing to evolve. Okay,
so there you've solved the first problem, which is how do you give your customers something they actually want to use and pay for, right? Then there's the second problem, which is you're not just selling something to customers. You've got all of these other people who are actually doing the hard work.
They're the product. Our studio partners are our product, right? We're a facilitator into them.
So so you solved their problem of having excess capacity. How do you then solve their other problems? Make sure they're making enough money, you're sending enough traffic to them. There's the second piece of the puzzle, right?
So one of the things, and we like to pride ourselves on, is we've had a 96% retention rate with our studios. Our studios love seeing the incremental revenue, seeing the check size grow month to month as Classpass grows, and we're bringing them a new clientele. That is one of the biggest things.
Are these
we are
people
growing
who
the market.
wouldn't have gone
70% of our users were not doing this regularly before. Our members try 32 different studios in a given year. Think about how much discovery that is. You know, we get people to explore, you know, the 4th floor walk-up yoga studio that no one would have ever gone to before. And so that is really the value proposition that really, you know, makes it become a really valuable business relationship for any of these studios. The other major thing that we've been able to do is our data and information. We collect a rating and review on every class someone goes to. So now we're able to expose that information to our partners, and they know which teachers are well. You know, oh, you need to get water bottles in your studio. Just little information like that, which we can see across our 8,000 partners to say, here are things that make a studio valuable. And we're able to do that, as well as a lot of like the capacity utilization algorithms we've built for them that have helped them sort of determine, you know, what times to have classes, when to move it from a 50-minute class to a 45-minute class so you could fit another class in at 7 p.m. Those are a lot of the sophisticated data and algorithms we've built for them that have really optimized their business.
And do they consider it more of a success, your partners, do they consider it more of a success when people keep returning to them via you, or when people come to them via you for a bit and then sign up to them, or are they happy with either model?
I mean, so this has been, you know, for the past 4 years, this has been what we've been trying to figure out. What do customers want to do? And so our product, up till right now, you couldn't go to the same studio more than 3 times in a given month. And that's what we wanted to do. If you wanted to go back to a studio, we wanted you to buy their package. One of the things we have realized is people just love the seamless booking nature of our app. So we just enable the feature that you can now go back to these studios at a slight incremental cost.
So you have to pay for it, but
you have to pay for it, and it's better for them, right? But now you're able to potentially go to all your classes at the same studio, and you're paying, you know, a good fee for it, but at the same time, it's still beneficial to our studio partners.
But on a platform that you're familiar with, that you're already using, you know, you have the freedom to still go elsewhere. All right, so you've solved problems for your partners. They're happy. You're sending them people. You're sending them a check at the end of every month. Then there's your own business.
Absolutely.
And so you said you've had 35 million reservations. But unlike a lot of startups, your sole focus is not growth. You're also looking at your bottom line. So last year you made a couple of difficult and unpopular decisions. You raised prices quite a bit, and you abolished the unlimited classes. Tell me why you made those decisions and how that was met.
Yeah, I mean, look, any marketplace, like we just talked about, has three parts to it. I think one of the best and worst things about what happened was we've been trying to get people to go to class, and they didn't before. And then they started to go to class, and there was no blueprint for us to follow. So a lot of the experiments we had to do had to be live.
Right.
Because there is actually something really beautiful about Classpass that is more than just quantity and price. It's the psychology of getting someone off the couch and getting them to do something, which was actually the really compelling part.
I feel like that's kind of directed at me.
We could get off. You know, and I think that was really, to me, the crux of it. And I think one of the hardest things was we started rooting against our customers as the business was growing. We wanted them not to go to class.
Because?
We would lose money.
Right.
And that was the conversation that, you know, ended up sort of consuming a lot of our time, and it was the wrong conversation to be having.
Okay.
The conversation should be, how do we get them back to these studios, going to more classes, buying more classes, working out more? And so a lot of these shifts were in line with that decision. And the other thing we did is we did it in a very thoughtful way. I mean, one of the things that we made sure of were the new plans we introduced had the same sort of engagement and magic as the unlimited product.
Can you be a bit more specific? When you say you want them, you wanted them not to go to class, that was because some people presumably were going to a lot of classes on the unlimited. I assume others weren't going to as many, but
right, there was a
some
distribution
were
curve.
Going to a lot, and that was bad for you and your partners. And then, but you still wanted them to go out because that's what you do. So that's why you raised prices, or that's why you canceled unlimited?
So the engagement levels increased as time went on. So when we first launched, people on average were going to 5 classes, you know, and at that time, the economics worked. As Classpass took off and more people used it, got more engaged, our product became better, we saw that engagement keep going up.
Right.
And it's a great thing. You know, it was one of those conversations where, you know, you're saying, wow, we've gotten people to work out more, people are more engaged with our product, but it was hurting our bottom line.
Right.
And so then, you know, we made, first decision was, can we introduce different plans that were more aligned, usage and our economics.
Okay, so how does it work today?
So we have a 5-pack in the market and we have a 10-pack in the market.
That means 5 classes a month and 10 classes a month at different prices.
And then you can always buy bundles. You can always go back to studios that you want, or not studios that you want to, but you can always buy a 3-pack extra to keep going to as many classes as you want. And I think one of the really good things is, what we also saw was while there were people going to a lot of classes and working out, there were a lot of people who were actually paying too much.
Right.
And so this actually helped recalibrate it and bring people back to paying the actual amount that they should be for their usage.
So what happened after you raised prices? What did you see?
Yeah, I mean, you know, one of the biggest things that we know is our product is great. It's terrific. And that was, we wouldn't have done this if we didn't feel that that was going to end up being what the result was.
But people did complain, right?
Of course, and you know, it wasn't easy, and you know, it wasn't great, but we also knew what's on the other side of that, and we're building such great things. But that being said, less than 5% of our users left.
Right, okay, that's what I was looking for, yeah.
And so when you think of that, you think of, you know, you have to sometimes make those hard changes, and we just talked about the history of the company. I mean, we're just obviously doing it more publicly now, we have a lot more people, but as a startup, you have to be willing to make changes that are critical for your mission and for being able to build a sustainable business or make your partners happy or build something that's better for your
customers. Just so everyone understands, how much did you raise prices? What did it go from?
Well, so our unlimited plan, it depends by city. I mean, every city actually had a different price point, but unlimited started around 100. We then did a first iteration where we got it to 125, and then we pushed it up to 200 because we knew. But the reason we pushed it up to 200 is because we introduced the lower plans, which actually caused adverse selection. So the second we had a 10-pack in the market, everyone underneath the 10 would obviously pick the 10, and we knew that the 10 to unlimited spread would have to be higher.
Right.
And then we just saw that the 10-pack was, you know, was doing really well. The 5 plan has been doing really well. We actually just had our best quarter in the history of our company. So
then you ditched unlimited after doing this and seeing that only 5% left. You ditched unlimited.
Yeah, just because.
To more grumbles, I understand.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the thing is, by the time we ditched unlimited, we didn't actually have many of our users on that plan. You know, a significant portion of our base was actually on the other plans, but it kept sort of being this, you know, it was making us bleed a little bit, and at the same time, it was that conversation that we kept having. And what we should have been focused on is how do we improve the 5 and the 10-pack? Right. And we were not having that conversation, and we weren't able to actually invest in our product. So we actually just launched a lot of new features because we're on the other side of this, but we wouldn't have been able to.
And so it stabilized immediately after that?
Yeah. Okay, we did a grandfathering period, obviously, with our customers,
So you have the customers who are happy, you have your partners who are happy, and then your own business is happy.
Yep.
And then you did something pretty strange. Earlier this year, you said, all right, we've sort of sorted all this out, business is going great, so the obvious thing to do is to stop running the business on a day-to-day basis?
It was obviously a lot more thoughtful than that.
Can you explain what you did?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the key reasons is because of Fritz. Fritz has been a dear friend.
We should explain what we're talking about.
Yeah, okay. So I have just become executive chairman of Classpass, and I've hired Fritz to become the CEO of our company.
So you switched roles, basically. So Payal was CEO, and then she did all this stuff, and then she said, I'm going to stop being CEO, and switched with the executive chairman.
The way I think about it is I wanted to focus on my product, and I wanted to focus on what founders love to do, which is create. And because the product and the business is in such a good place, it was the perfect time for me to be able to actually do that. That being said, Fritz is now the CEO, he and I have been great partners for 3 years. And we complement each other's skills. In a way, it's almost like a perfect pairing, and I actually know a lot of founders who wish they've had a very similar relationship because it's very important to be able to focus on what you love to do.
So what does that mean for the day-to-day? What was it you used to do that you no longer have to do, and what is it that you have more time to do now?
I'm in more, I would say, creation brainstorming meetings instead of less routine meetings, if that makes sense.
So less operational nitty-gritty stuff.
And I'm thinking a bit more long-term than short-term in a lot of the products that I'm building now. And I think it's really important to make sure I'm a few steps ahead in our product experience, especially now that we've earned that right to do it. And that's something that we always talk about, is you always have to earn the right to take the next big step in your company. And we had potentially jeopardized that at one point. And that was something, well, just not having a sustainable business. It was not something that we wanted to be in a state of. You can't think about innovation.
So what happens next? I mean, you've nailed down your business model. You've got a bunch of customers and growing. You're making a little bit of money. Do you think they're telling us to get off? I think we have 4 minutes left. You're making a reasonable amount of money, and now you're thinking about what happens next. But what is next?
Yeah, so a few things. One that I'm personally really excited about and have been working on is our digital product. So we have just launched the ability for our members to watch video on demand. So you can watch fitness videos from around the world on our platform. It's a part of your membership. And we've seen digital become a really big part of fitness. And in general, I mean, I think people are now consuming a lot on information via video.
So wait, what does that mean? Why am I watching videos?
So it's workout videos.
Oh, right, okay.
Right, so people can watch a 10-minute video on a day when they can't get to class.
Right.
Right, or if they're traveling. Or, our hope is obviously there's a lot of people who aren't in the 39 metro areas that we're in, and there aren't that many boutique studios in every part in the suburbs of America and other places, and we want to make sure we're building a product that people can actually connect to and be able to continue to work out. So we're really excited about that, and there's a lot of innovation going on in that space in general, in terms of like data and gadgets and being able to track information sort of on and offline, which has been really exciting.
And it seems to me this model would work not just for fitness, but for a number of other things as well, right?
So, one of my favorite things about our product is we help people book the hours of their life. There is no other app on your home screen that you book multiple hours of your life.
I don't know, Netflix. I book a lot of hours of my life on Netflix.
That's true. I mean, it's good to be entertained, and I think what's really great is the hours we are giving you are things that are improving yourself from a mind and body place. And I think for us, it's what other things can we do in that same vein to be able to introduce you and take more hours of your life and help push you in the right direction. And because we've built that connection with our users, that's a very important relationship that I don't think many products have.
So do you think just in closing, do you think of yourself more as or going forward, are you thinking of yourself more as a company that does exercise or a company that just helps you sort of schedule and manage your leisure time?
So the way we think about it is, the way you go to Spotify to listen to music, Netflix to watch entertainment, we want you to go to Classpass for what you want to do.
Outside your work hours?
Exactly.
All right.
In your free time.
Great, Payal, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I look forward to the non-exercise based bits that I can sign up to.
Great.
Lovely chatting with you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.